It's a Victory Monday here on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports, and it's all presented by Manscaped. San Francisco is balling out against the Carolina Panthers to get their record to 3-2 with a nice little cushion in the NFC West. If you want to ball out with the best men's grooming products, you get 20% off and free shipping if you head to manscaped.com/49ers. Enter the promo code 49ers. So to begin the show, our worst fears confirmed that Emmanuel Moseley, after going down late in that game in pursuit of a deep ball, suffered a season-ending torn ACL on Sunday in that victory. Really unfortunate for him for a couple of reasons. We'll get to that, but first, let's go good vibes here for a little while. If you're pumped up about the Niners' dominant win as they drubbed the Carolina Panthers, and I told you during our pregame show for our watch party, this was an opportunity to end the Matt Rhule era, and basically they did that, then I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video, because with what we're seeing from San Francisco, yes, their record a little bit frustrating at 3-2, but when they're playing their best ball, they look like one of the more dominant teams in the NFL that has to get you juiced up like Kyle Juszczyk. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. So let's go back to Emmanuel Moseley here. According to Adam Schefter just moments ago, suffered a season-ending torn ACL. He'll undergo surgery very soon. And what's unfortunate about this is the final year of his contract. Had a pick six of Baker Mayfield in the victory, and he's really been one of the better coverage and tackling cornerbacks in the NFL over the last 2 years. He was setting himself up for a really nice payday in the final year of his contract, and the story for him really has been fascinating. What a gem it was for this front office to find him a couple of years ago. Now, he's still only 26 years old, and ACL injuries aren't like they were even when I was growing up. You can bounce back from these injuries very quickly, but this might impact his free agency price tag just a little bit. For him, UDFA out of Tennessee, he grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, and there was a clip that went viral of all of his family members and a lot of his friends on hand in Charlotte to watch this game not far from his hometown, and they saw him flourishing. They saw him thriving. He picks off Baker Mayfield, and then he ends up hurting his knee late in that football game, and now he's going to be lost for the year. And going into the free agency period here in 2023, he could have really earned himself some really good dough. Now, I want the Niners to pay him. I want them to bring him back because he's a byproduct of their player development program. But there's no doubt that for him, he's probably feeling down for himself after the season-ending injury, because I wanted to see the continued ascent for Emmanuel Moseley. And it really started to pick up last year when he gave up no touchdowns in coverage. He had 11 pass breakups on 74 targets, 495 coverage snaps in total, and allowed just 33 receiving yards per game. And him with Charvarius Ward, they were forming one of the top cornerback duos in the National Football League. And Moseley was on his way to having yet another masterful campaign on the outside. A lot of people projected him out of Tennessee to just be a slot cornerback. He's been much more than that in his career and was rounding into form. One pick this year, one touchdown, obviously both of them coming yesterday on that Baker Mayfield overthrow. 5 pass breakups, so he was on his way to breaking that number from last year with 11, and when he was targeted, a passer rating allowed of 63.5. That number right there, very, very good. And let's continue to say this because Nick Bosa has brought it up. George Kittle talked about it again yesterday. Turf fields should be banned in the NFL. If the NFL wants to say that they care about the safety of players, then every single stadium in the National Football League should have a grass surface. I don't care if it's a dome. I don't care if it's a poor weather city like Chicago, because other poor weather cities are able to maintain a very good grass surface. It has been proved for a really long time that turf fields and the difference in those surfaces at every single stadium that has a turf field oftentimes leads to a lot of serious injuries, whether it's a torn ACL or a torn Achilles or another really serious injury like a player's head bouncing off the turf. So NFL, you got put on blast because of this Tua Tagovailoa concussion protocol mishap. And you're saying that you care about the safety of players and the longevity of those guys for the individual lifespans of that person. Well, these injuries are altering the trajectory of a lot of careers, so ban turf fields because it's been proven they are dangerous. You want to have turf fields in college? I understand it from a financial and fiscal perspective. Every NFL team has the money to keep their players safe and the opposing players safe by just going to a grass surface. It's about damn time. Do it as soon as possible. That's my take on the situation. To wish Emmanuel Moseley well, let's show him some love. This guy is really a grinder, a diamond in the rough, and I think that's why a lot of people like him, because he's displayed that underdog mentality. I want you to type his jersey number 4 in the comment section to wish him well. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already done so. When injury news comes out, we put together a video as soon as possible. News, rumors, breaking news, analysis, all 22, live shows, watch parties, 400 people subscribed to the channel yesterday during our watch party, in which nearly 60,000 people joined us throughout the afternoon. You want to stay informed and entertained Niners football year-round? Hey, join the party. Hit that red sub button. So the question now becomes, with this Emmanuel Moseley injury, what do the Niners do right now at the cornerback spot? Thankfully, this is a team that is constructed in a very deep way. The defensive line is superb, so that takes pressure off the back end when they're consistently generating pressure on the opposing quarterback, as evidenced by the numbers that we'll get to here in a few moments. Stay tuned for that. And with Emmanuel Moseley going down, they still have some good cornerbacks on this roster, including Charvarius Ward, who has ended up being one of the better free agent acquisitions in the NFL. And his technique is something that all prospective cornerbacks out there should watch, because how he uses his hands, his footwork, the ability to address and turn around to the football really is elite, and is the only cornerback in the NFL to be top 3 in coverage grades as well as run defense grades. Coverage grades, he's top 3 alongside guys like Stephon Gilmore. Against the run, he's also very good. Him and Emmanuel Moseley, 2 very good tacklers and good cover guys. 92.1 against the run. This is a free agent acquisition that has been absolutely phenomenal for San Francisco, and John Lynch in the front office certainly deserve credit for that, because the analytics pointed to this guy's continued growth as a very good corner on the outside, and it started with the Kansas City Chiefs. Internal replacements for Emmanuel Moseley. A couple of guys who can fulfill those shoes. Diamador Lenore has kind of found a home at that slot spot. Struggled a little bit yesterday, but 2 weeks ago in primetime against Cooper Kupp, I thought he was really good. Jason Verrett was on the field pregame working out that knee. He did join the practice field last week, so he's closing in on a return. Maybe it comes on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Ambry Thomas had that sealer of an interception against the Rams in Week 18 last year. We know he has the ability, just has to be more consistent. And I think Samuel Womack and Diamador Lenore are better as nickel and slot cornerbacks, but if you want to put them outside from time to time, you can do that. As for trade candidates, the market is a little bit thin, but let's keep an eye on this name inside the division. It's Sidney Jones, who played his college ball at Washington. During his pro day a couple of years ago, he was expected and projected to be a first-round pick. He popped his Achilles. The Eagles took a swing on him in the second round. His career didn't really work out. He goes to the Jags, played solid, goes to the Seahawks, ended up playing solid football last year, but this year only 24 snaps in coverage. He's really not playing, so it might not cost much to bring a player in here like Sidney Jones, who does offer this team a little bit of pedigree, a name to watch as we get closer and closer to the NFL trade deadline. Who do you think should replace Emmanuel Moseley? I want you to drop me a name or names down in the comment section. Let me know. Internal replacements are there. External replacements a little bit thin. Either way, you play the role of general manager, and you let me know. As I mentioned off the top of the show, 49ers Report presented by Manscaped. It is time, folks, for fresh ball fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure that your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right. Today's show brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shredding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows that it's time to lose the excess clutter down below the belt this fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get 20% off and free shipping on the Platinum Package. All of these great products available for $123.99, and you get a bevy of those products in one Platinum Package. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Your significant other, she doesn't want a forest down there. So trim it up and keep it clean, like the Niners defense has been keeping it clean throughout the first 5 weeks of the season. So speaking of this victory, just want to give you some takeaways. We talked a lot about this dub during our post-game show. I appreciate everybody for tuning in on Callin as well as YouTube. But then you have an opportunity to kind of watch this game back, take a look at the film, and really assess how San Francisco played. And I think the big storyline here is that the offense got it together. And it's about time that the offense came through with a good performance, because the defense up until week 5 had been pacing this football team. And if Jimmy Garoppolo can just be average to above average, I think the 49ers can be one of the better teams in the NFC, if not the best team in the NFC, because they really are deep and elite at multiple positions. And right now, this is a team that is suffering from a lot of injuries. Yet again, they've been top 10 in injury rate since Kyle Shanahan took over in 2017. But Kyle Shanahan said it after the game. Look, we got to keep stacking wins. And that's why that win against the Rams was important. A win against the Panthers is important. And even though they're banged up, going into Sunday's game, Week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons, an opportunity to string together 3 consecutive wins going into that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The defense stellar once again, and the offense scoring 30 of 37 points. Yes, the Panthers are bad, but you got to take care of business. And the Panthers not only fired Matt Rhule, they fired defensive coordinator Phil Snow, who was his DC at Temple University, as well as Baylor. So the Niners able to come down with the boom and end that current regime in Carolina, and it was really an overall dominant performance. Once again, paced by that defense, and they got complementary football from that offense. Pretty interesting stat here. In 2022, sacks through 5 games, San Francisco, 21 of them, as they continue to hunt opposing quarterbacks. In 2019, sacks through 5 games, just 17. So they've been better, and that's with Nick Bosa pretty much missing all of that second half yesterday. On the day against the Panthers, Baker Mayfield was consistently under siege. The Niners able to generate 20 pressures and 6 sacks, led by Charles Emmanuel. That trade deadline acquisition last year has reaped big dividends. I mean, he started mastering this scheme, and he's been good really since the latter portion of last year. He's earning himself a lot of money. At Texas, Hook'em, really big win over Oklahoma. Producer Coop was there at the Cotton Bowl for the Red River rivalry. He was an athletic freak at Texas. He goes to the Houston Texans and really wasn't all that good. You get him with the best defensive line coach in the NFL, and Chris Kocurek, and he's played really good football. 5 pressures and a sack yesterday. Drake Jackson got on the board with another sack. 3 pressures as well. Samson Ebukam continues to be really good. What up, Sosa? And then Talanoa Hufanga, 2 pressures and a sack. So this is a defense that has been clicking on all cylinders, and they can get after the quarterback, which, yes, losing Emmanuel Moseley hurts, but the fact that quarterbacks don't have time to survey the field, go through their progressions because the defense is hunting, is a good problem to have for San Francisco. Shifting to the offensive side of the ball, want to get to some notes on, some offensive players here. Juwan Jennings. Money down Jennings continues to produce in some really critical spots. Last year, we talked about it so frequently. He was so good on 3rd and 4th down. This year, really the same. 7 of his 10 catches this year have gone for first downs. And he had that big play yesterday in which he broke a couple of tackles, got inside the 5-yard line to get the 49ers closer to putting points on the board once again, and continues to really flourish on some of those money downs. And then for Kyle Shanahan, look, it blows my mind how after seeing the Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula era and seeing Mike Singletary back in the day, that Niner fans don't like Kyle Shanahan. Look, he had to completely tear down this organization and this franchise, build it back up, and in the early going, there was some rough patches. 10-22 to start his head coaching career. He's now 46-46. So what that means is that after that 10-22 start, Kyle Shanahan has gone 36-24. He is 4-2 in the playoffs. I tweeted that stat out, and somebody replied saying, yeah, but we want Super Bowls. We don't care about meaningless wins that mean nothing. So you're telling me that going to the Super Bowl back in 2019 and then running it back last year and making it to the NFC Championship again is meaningless? You're telling me that a win on the road against the Cowboys, a win on the road against the top-seeded Packers is meaningless? Folks, be careful what you ask for. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's been able to rebuild and bring this franchise back to a point where they can be and have been a consistent contender, and I believe that's going to continue to be the case. Shanahan's a very good head coach. For those of you who want him fired, I just don't understand it. You can have a difference of opinion, that's fine. I just don't personally understand it. We made it to the end of the show, and if you made it to the end of the show, like Johnny Drama said in Entourage, victory! Victory! Type FTTB in the comment section if you're faithful to the Bay and faithful to the Niners Report. Show us in the comment section. And as always, thanks for tuning into the show.